وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر وعبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
And good morning, everybody. It's Friday, August 14, 2020. I'm Ray Hanania, special U.S. correspondent for the Arab News newspaper, and you're listening to Radio Baladi, the Arab Street radio and podcast broadcast from Greater Detroit, Michigan through 690 AM WNZK radio. In the future, I'd like to be introduced by my Game of Thrones title, if you don't mind, just moving forward. Ray Hanania, the first of his name, the mayor slayer, the breaker of political egos, the father of wags, that's a term for journalists, the one true believer of Steppenwolf and Jimi Hendrix, the spirit of Jerusalem, and the scribe of the 4 high schools, Bowen, Bogan, Little Flower, and Revis. If you've read my book, you know I was kind of bounced out of 2 of the high schools. Bogan kicked me out because I was too dark. During the racial tension that was in Chicago. Like, that's changed. You know, racial tension is in Chicago. It's a permanent thing. It's not something that we talk about in the past tense, I guess. The Arab Street Radio and Podcast is a part of the U.S. Arab Radio Network, hosted by Layla Al-Husseini, in an effort to energize and empower Arab Americans to stand up for their rights. For more information, go to my website at Hanania.com. And afterwards, go to the podcast on iTunes. This radio show will be podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or by visiting my podcast website at thearabstreet.org. Remember, all these links are at Hanania.com, so you don't have to worry about anything. Even Layla's links to U.S. Arab Radio. She got a great website with a lot of news and stuff. We're broadcasting live on radio in Michigan and WNZK AM 690 this morning, 8 a.m. in Greater Detroit, Ohio and Canada, 7 a.m. in Chicago, 3 p.m. in Israeli-occupied Jerusalem, and 4 p.m. in Israeli-occupied United Arab Emirates. Wow. You know, Israel kind of expanded their influence this week, huh? We're going to be talking about all that stuff. Our radio show call-in number is 248-557-3300. Yeah, we had a fascinating and typical 2 weeks. First, on August 4, we had the devastating explosion in Beirut that destroyed an entire area of Beirut, the seaport. I mean, everybody's seen it, right? The worst videos were on the Chinese-owned TikTok social media system. I don't know if you have TikTok. TikTok is a combination of girls in G-strings dancing for 40 seconds, and then apparently chefs post their food there. People like to cook and post their food. Yeah, it's like Playboy magazine. I buy it for the stories, not the pictures. So you can go to TikTok, because I'm on a calorie-counting diet, and I love to see pictures. I lust for pictures of steaks and food being cooked on TikTok, which is a Chinese conspiracy to undermine the American people. Suddenly it rose up in the last, 6 months? It is the number one social media platform. But what was fascinating about TikTok, especially in the Arab world where it really is used, they have more interest in Chinese spying social media than in the United States. So the Arab world has been using TikTok for a little bit longer than the United States. All those videos of the explosion of Beirut, those are just unbelievable. 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate stored for 5 years or maybe 6 years in a warehouse in the seaport. Ammonium nitrate, just a ton of ammonium nitrate could take down a building. It's unbelievable. And then, so that explosion, the seaport, the bet was destroyed, the business district, and a much larger area of residential homes. In politics, yeah, it was interesting and fascinating, typical 2 weeks. We saw Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib win their respective Democratic primaries. Congratulations, Rashida, the woman who refuses to allow me to follow her. I've been blocked on her social media. Not on TikTok, so if she dances around in a G-string, I guess maybe I'll be able to see her. But she's blocked me every place else. But congratulations to Rashida Tlaib. 2 more years of wearing a Palestinian dress on the floor of the Congress. Yay! I'm happy, right? We're going to have that. We'll be able to see a Palestinian, look Palestinian, scream Palestinian, get emotional Palestinian, and I don't know, maybe dance around to Ala Delona on the floor of the Congress with the 435 members. We won't be able to get anything done, though. But we don't need that, right? We're Arab. We're Palestinian. We don't need anything. We don't need to change the world. All we got to do is have the opportunity to be angry and emotional and yell and scream. That should be enough, right, for Palestinians? Yeah, let's get emotional. Let's be angry. Why try to change anything? You know, we'll still be able to visit Israeli-occupied United Arab Emirates once they recognize Israel, probably next week. Yeah, great job of, standing up to defend Palestinian rights, Palestinian activists. Wow, I'm really happy. So congratulations to Rashida Tlaib, the champion of Arab and Palestinian emotion. And Ilhan Omar, congratulations to her in Minnesota. I don't know what she really does. She's part of the squad. They're part of the squad. Actually, the one person I genuinely would congratulate would be Betty McCollum in Minnesota. Betty McCollum, the Congresswoman, she is very effective. Okay, there is at least one member of Congress, not an Arab, though. No, not an Arab. Betty McCollum, an American, who gets things done. And she gets some recognition in the Arab community. Not a lot, but she does get some. And she deserves a lot more because she understands politics the way I understand it. It's perception is reality. Truth takes a back seat to what you can convince the public to see. So, yes, people, we're lucky to have 10 voices in the 435-member seat of anti-Arab rejection in the Congress. And we should be happy, right? Hey, Rashida Tlaib got elected. Good for her. I'm so happy because it really is nice seeing a Palestinian embroidered dress on the floor of Congress behind the microphone, even though nothing gets done and nothing gets passed and no legislation does anything. But hey, we should be happy. What are we complaining about? I don't know. And, and then the other thing, by the way, Joe Biden, right? Former vice president. He's running against Donald Trump. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the Zionist team. Yes, the Zionist team. Joe Biden declared he's a Zionist. I'm a Zionist. Those are his words. He said it. And Kamala Harris, she said it. She doesn't need to actually say I'm a Zionist. She just introduced and supported every Zionist program in the country. She's an advocate of Israel. She's anti-BDS. Yeah, man, let's support them, right? Yeah, we got the Arab community supporting. We're going to dump Donald Trump because, he's the Muslim hater. So, what a choice, right? We got to vote for a Zionist team or the Muslim hater. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to go with supporting the Zionist team. the Arab leadership in this country. They're not going to call them the Zionist team. They're going to play that down a little bit, I think. What they're going to do is emphasize that Donald Trump is the Muslim hater because he banned immigration from 6 Muslim countries. But, nobody passed mathematics in school because 6 Muslim countries are only, 11% of the 50 Muslim countries that we have in the world that are not banned. 44 Muslim countries. If you're Muslim, you can come to the United States anytime. You can enter this country with no problems. But it's a Muslim ban, because they hate Trump so much. And he hasn't been very good because he's mad at us. We didn't support him. So he's going to jump all over Israel. And I guess he's a Zionist too. So what a choice. We get the Zionist team we can vote for or the Zionist, okay? And I guess that's what makes the Arabs happy. We don't have to change anything, but we do need to hear at least one person yell and scream and stand up and stamp their feet in anger so we don't feel alone. Wow, that's the Palestinian destiny. Victory! Yes, victory is ours in the revolution. Yeah, Palestine is going to be free in our minds, of course, and not reality. It's being absorbed, beginning under the Democrats, continuing under Republicans, and maybe this November under 2 of the most ardent American Zionists to hold public office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that. It's called Breadcrumbs. I think my next book is going to be called Breadcrumbs. And breadcrumbs symbolizes the Arab world and the Arab community. We see breadcrumbs. We give breadcrumbs to the community, and we tell them, this is bread. Technically, it is bread, but it's a breadcrumb. You can't spread butter on a breadcrumb. It's a little tiny piece of crumb. And we're told, hey, here's principle. Here's future. Here's everything. We're standing up for you with these breadcrumbs. We never get the loaf of bread. We never get the, the full loaf. We only get the breadcrumbs as we sit around the tabboon and yell and scream and get emotional. Our number is 248-557-3300. We already got some people who want to call in and talk. And, whatever you want, we're gonna talk about any topic that you want to talk about. The Beirut thing, I have a suspicion, I know it's turned into like a protest and everything in Lebanon. That country's been just racked by violence. Nothing has really changed. Arab on Arab violence. You know how they talk about black on black crime in Chicago? Yeah, in Lebanon, it's Arab on Arab violence. Okay, because we blow each other up over there. They killed Rafiq Hariri, I think, was it 2005? I saw that crater in front of I think it was the St. George Hotel, I think, in Beirut. It was as big as a giant bigger than a giant public swimming pool, the crater. So it's interesting, really fascinating. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break here at the Arab Street Radio Ballady on WNZK AM 690. And when we come back, we're going to take some phone calls at 248-557-3300. Talk about the great victory of the Arab people. Yay! We're winning, right? Only in our own minds. I'm Ray Anania. We're going to be right back right after these messages.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
إلي ساعة عم بستناك مشان نروح نتغدى بالشام.
الشام؟
ايه بالشام ومو بالشام.
شلون صارت هي؟
بدل ما نروح نتغدى بالشام
ايه
جابوا لنا الأكلات الشامية الطيبة لعنا لهم.
وشلون بقى؟
هذا مطعم دماس عم يعمل كل الأكلات الشامية الطيبة هو.
وطيبة؟
طيبة كتير.
شرفوا نتغدى سوا بمطعم دماس.
الأكل الشامي الأصيل فقط بدمشق كوزين. زوروهم على 28841 أورشد ليك بفارمينغتون هيلز، ولطلباتكم اتصلوا على 248-987-4609. That's 248-987-4609. دمشق كوزين and catering، جبنا لكم الشام لعندكم.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. EMAD NAKKASH is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. EMAD NAKKASH. See Dr. EMAD NAKKASH and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
And welcome back to the Arab Street Radio. I'm Ray Hanania, and, just telling it like it is, right? Let's be honest. Let's stop pretending, that we're winning anything. Let's stop pretending that everything is good, and, let's just be honest. Or maybe it's better to pretend. We'll sing Ella Del Ona songs, and dance to Debka, and, get emotional and scream and have a hefla and eat food, stuff grape leaves, and we'll have all kinds of Middle Eastern food and pretend that we're winning, okay? Because, we have a Palestinian dress in Congress. I don't know if Jerry's still on the line. Let's welcome Jerry. How about 248-557-3300? Hey, Jerry, how are you?
Good morning, Ray Hanania. You know what, Ray? I wouldn't,
Ray
if
Hanania,
I was you, I wouldn't do it. You congratulate Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who did not respect your invitation to come to your radio talk show. I wouldn't do it, Ray. You have a good heart. You have a big chest, Ray.
It's typical Arab, though, Jerry. It's typical Arab. They get mad. This is Arab. The 4-letter word is a 4-letter word, Arab. And the one thing about Arab is we get angry and emotional. We don't think right. We don't think strategic. We just like to yell and scream and eat food and dance, right? Isn't that the truth? Come on. Let's be honest. Do we get anything done? We get nothing done. We hate each other more than we hate everybody else.
We talk more than action. The Arab people, I'm one of them, right? Yep. All we do screaming and yelling and get an emotion, but we do not take action, and that's the problem with us for the past century, right? Yeah. That we are not a good negotiator. We are not a good diplomat.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Jerry. First of all, let me ask you about the 3 topics. Beirut. What did you think of Beirut? Do you think it's politics? Do you think I think it's the Russians that are responsible, because this stash of 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate was going to go to some African country, I think Mozambique, where the Russians were engaged in a revolution, military revolution 6 years ago. But, now they've used it for politics. They're going to try to get rid of the government. What do you make of that explosion? What did you think of it?
Okay, all right. You want me to be very honest with you and just talk directly? Ray, my friend, unfortunately, I'm telling you the truth, and this is the truth, and I'm responsible to the words I said to you over your radio talk show. And by the way, salute to Ms. Layla Al-Husseini, the founder of this station, the Arab Voice of Detroit.
The mother of dragons. The mother of dragons. I'm using it now, and everything's going to be Game of Thrones. She deserves a salute. It's fiction.
Ray, my friend, Lebanon is the only Christian regime in the Middle East among, what is the population of the Arab in the Middle East? Over
200 million.
200 million, maybe?
Million. 500 million, I don't even know.
Because just Egypt is about 90 million population. Ray, my friend, after the French give Lebanon the independence, and you remember they set the constitution for Lebanon, the new Lebanon, the head of the state will be Christian, the Prime Minister will be Sunni, the Congress or the representative will
Speaker
be Shia Muslim. Right. And all this been repeated generation after generation. We see people from the same families. Look at Mr. Nabih Berri. He been over 35, 40 years in this position. Right, my friend, where's the democracy? And then you come to the Prime Minister. There's never been
democracy in Lebanon, as you know.
I know. Compared to the other Arab world, we consider Lebanon, but not anymore, Ray. Hezbollah, he is the government. He is the power. Hezbollah. He is the army. Hezbollah got a lot of influence in Lebanon.
Hezbollah makes the decisions. You are absolutely right, Jerry.
What do you think? Al-EMAD, the general, Michel Aoun, who is current the president of, do you think he came to the power without any interfere from Hezbollah?
No, he had to partner with Hezbollah to get into government.
Yeah, he blessed Michel Aoun to become a president when Lebanon was without a president for almost 2 years. Right, my friend, you ask me what's going on in Lebanon? I believe, and I don't want my brother Muslim to get upset on me, they try to empty Lebanon for what left from Christian. They want Lebanon to be free. The place where is Beirut port, most the area, residential area, they are Christian, and they are middle class people or under middle class. Right, all this tragedy, it was aimed against the Christian in Lebanon, and I'm responsible about what I say, Ray.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't know your reaction, Ray.
I appreciate it. There are a lot of people that agree with you. I think, if you're a Christian Arab, you feel, or a Christian from the Middle East.
I lived 2 years in Lebanon, Hadath Beirut, Ba'abda, Ray. And Lebanon, I considered my second country after Iraq. And Lebanon opened their arm and their heart, not just for Iraqi, for all the Arab who they skip their countries from prosecution and political reason. Lebanon, Ray, was the safe haven, not for Iraqi, for all the Arab people. But unfortunately, Ray, the Arab people, they turned their back on Lebanon, and Lebanon been killing every day.
We destroy everything. I think it's 500 million Arabs. We destroy everything.
Lebanon.
Because they didn't like Rafiq Hariri, so the Syrians and Hezbollah put a bomb under his car and blew him up.
And Ray, the chairman of Hezbollah, he denied that there was any weapon in the area. Ray, don't you call this?
I mean, that is unbelievable. You're right. I mean, ammonium nitrate, they say, we use it for fertilizer.
6 years, Ray. And Ray, the problem is, Ray, that Hezbollah, he was in control of the Beirut port. You tell me Hezbollah, he doesn't know nothing about it?
Yes, no.
Hezbollah...
There's absolutely, in my mind, this is tied to Hezbollah. This is tied to Syria. This is tied to Russia. This
and
is
Iran.
Tied to
and Iran, right.
And the people that hate, moderate Muslims and Christians. It's tied to all of that.
So, I love my brother Muslim in Lebanon. I have a lot of friends in the greater Detroit. Yes. They are Muslim. Look, Ray, Miss Maryam Shihab, the beautiful journalist in Sadal Watan in Dearborn. I consider her, she's my sister. She considers me her brother. I love Lebanese Muslim people, but the politician, Ray, they are using religion as a weapon, as a curtain to hide behind it. And I give Hezbollah all the responsibility, and should be some United Nations investigation to see who was behind this criminal act.
You're never going to find out, listen, Jerry, we're never going to find out the truth. we still don't know who killed Hariri. It's been how many years? 15 years,
Rafiq
right?
Hariri, till now, we don't know, right? Right? Rafiq Hariri remind me about Jimmy Hoffa. Till today, nobody know how Jimmy Hoffa end up.
Yes.
And Rafiq Hariri will become like a question without answer. Unsolved mystery, right? Unsolved mystery.
Listen, Jerry, I got to tell you, that is the best analogy I have heard in a century. Rafiq Hariri is the Jimmy Hoffa of the Middle East.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you. That's brilliant. I'm going to steal that. I want to steal that. So if that's okay.
Ray, can I switch the gear to
real quick,
the VP?
Okay, because we're going to take another break. You got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, right, about the new VP for Democratic presidential. I know Joe Biden, he picked up Kamala Harris. Right, the media, the fake media, say to the African people, she's African. She's not. She's from mother, she's from India, and a father, he's from Jamaica. Yes, she is black skin, but she's not African American, right? I want you to correct this in your radio. She's not African American. She's Asian from mother. She's Jamaican from her father. Where the fake media come from the first African American woman to become a vice president for the Democratic presidential? No, it is a big lie. They try to confuse our brother, the African American people. The Kamala Harris, she's not African American. She's just a lady, minority with dark skin. What do you think, Ray?
Yep, I agree. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. The Arabs are going to vote like crazy for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and it won't matter what the issues are because they hate Donald Trump so much, which I get. I understand. He hasn't made it easy to love the guy. He's done some really stupid things. But they're going from one bad situation to another. That's the Arab way. That's the Arab way. We go from one bad situation
the last
to
thing
another.
I want to say, I want to congratulate the government of United Arab Emirates to establish diplomatic relation with the state of Israel. Jesus Christ always say, bless the people who they seek peace because they be called the sons of God.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that because there's an aspect of it that you can't trust the Israelis. Listen, Jerry, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you for taking my call. God bless you, and God bless America.
All right. Rehan and Nia here at WNZK AM 690 Radio. Our number is 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. We got people listening online and live on radio on AM 690 in Detroit on WNZK. I'm Rehan and Nia. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about the United Arab Emirates, the Israeli-occupied United Arab Emirates, and see what that is all about. I'm Rehan and Nia. We'll be right back right after these messages.
KASHAT's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, seafood dinners, and they offer special big trays of your favorite food, plus much more. KASHAT's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab address is 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills. Their phone number is 248-538-9552. That number again is 248-538-9552. And the supermarket is open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. KASHAT's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
مركز طب ريهاب للعلاج الطبيعي بإدارة الدكتور محمد فرح حسين، أخصائي العلاج الطبيعي بخبرة أكثر من 13 عاما. طب ريهاب يقدم خدمات العلاج الطبيعي وإعادة التأهيل، ويضم مجموعة من أفضل أخصائي التشخيص الدقيق للحالات المرضية، مع خبرة عالية في التعامل مع الحالات التي تحتاج إلى إعادة تأهيل وعناية خاصة بعد العمليات والكسور. طب ريهاب يستقبل كل الحالات المتعلقة بألم الرقبة، الظهر، المفاصل، شلل الوجه، الانزلاق الغضروفي، عرق النساء، الحوادث وإصابات العمل. خبيرات في المعالجة النسائية لخصوصيات تامة للسيدات. عندما تبحثون عن رعاية متميزة اقصدوا توب ريهاب للعلاج الطبيعي الواقع على 15001 ميشيغان افنيو. وللمواعيد اتصلوا على 313-846-0555. That's 846-0555.
ZIYAD brand. Quality products from our family to yours. ZIYAD Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Dana, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. ZIYAD, quality products from our family to yours.
Yeah, and if you go back to my website at hanania.com, which is also called thedailyhookah.com, because, you know, we can't, a lot of Arabs can't spell Hanania. We can say it. It has that emotion, Hanania. I remember when I was a kid, they used to say Hanania. You know, and that's what the Israelis say. They have Hanania Street. We used to have a street in Jerusalem, my family, Hanania Street. The Israelis called it Hanania Street, and they turned it into a cul-de-sac. They eliminated the street, so it's no longer there. But, you know, I should steal the street sign, though. It's in Arabic, Hebrew, and English, Hanania Street, in occupied Jerusalem. But maybe they'll put up a Hanania Street in Israeli-occupied United Arab Emirates, right? Yeah, the United Arab Emirates. We're going to talk about that in a second. But if you go to thedailyhookah.com, hanania.com, you can read a story that I wrote for the Arab News newspaper. It's amazing how many Americans continue to support Daesh, the ISIS, the terrorists, Al-Qaeda. They've arrested 4 people over the last, just 4 of them have pled guilty or were convicted. So I did a story about who these people are. These are Americans. What is it about these guys, you know, that they tie themselves up with Arab terrorism in the Middle East, with these extremist terrorists? We're not allowed to call them extremists. You know, we got to call them terrorists because people get upset if we suggest that they're Arab terrorists, that these people are going. So, but you can read the story if you want to go to my website at hanania.com. And there's also a link to a interview I did with a buddy of mine, Mark Sims. Mark Sims interviewed me, and during that podcast, I talk about, you know, the issues of President Trump, you know, and racism and race and Black Lives Matter, and you know how race is used as a political weapon, just like anti-Arabism is used as a political weapon. The only difference is the African Americans understand how to come together and fight racism against them. The Arabs don't. We don't understand how to fight racism against Arab Americans or people in the Arab world. So this week, the big news, besides the fact that, you know, I don't know, what was it? 30,000 Lebanese were made homeless after 130 or 150 Lebanese were killed, and 3,000 were injured in that August 4th blast. 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate that was supposed to go to an African nation, shipped there by a Russian shipping magnate who was just left it in Lebanon. It's been sitting in the port there. Hezbollah controlled Beirut, the seaport, and it exploded. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. The explosion was unbelievable. But the other big news is the United Arab Emirates has reached out to Israel, you know, right? And they said, hey, we want to make peace. And what the United Arab Emirates, the Washington ambassador of the UAE in Washington, D.C., wrote an op-ed in Yedioth Ahronot, the Israeli newspaper. I think it's one of the largest newspapers in Israel. He said, let's normalize relations if you will not annex the West Bank. That's what he wrote, okay? So Israel and the UAE, when President Trump was all over this, like it was a big achievement for him, he said Thursday that they've agreed to full normalization of relations, which means that Israeli soldiers now will be able to visit the United Arab Emirates and Dubai. They'll be walking around by the Burj Khalifa and the plaza there, taking pictures and organizing, the Shin Bet might be over there, spying and organizing stuff. So Israelis will be able to travel to the United Arab Emirates and buy stuff, buy Chinese-made junk, tourist stuff that's sold over there. Because I've been there, and I got to tell you, a lot of the tourist junk is made by China. And I wonder if they have, I wonder if the Chinese in that souvenir junk that they produce in China, that they sell all over the world, in Belize and the Cayman Islands, all over the Gulf. You go on vacation, Mexican, Caribbean there. It's all Chinese made. It's not made locally. Do they put listening devices in there? Are they spying on us? I don't know. So the UAE reaches this landmark decision with Israel. They're going to recognize each other. And the UAE said, hey, part of their demand, typical of the Arabs, their demand was that Israel not annex the West Bank. So to stop Israel from doing something they said they were going to do, the UAE said, hey, we'll recognize you and give you full access to our country if you promise not to annex the West Bank. And, the Israelis, they're not stupid. They're very smart. I mean, some of them in their government might be war criminals, like the late Ariel Sharon and Menachem Begin, the terrorist, or Yitzhak Shamir, the terrorist, or, the rest of them, Benjamin Netanyahu. They're not stupid. They're very smart. And they said, in exchange for getting recognized by the United Arab Emirates, we'll suspend annexation. We will temporarily suspend annexation. So this is what happens, right? Israel has taken over all of the Arab world slowly because they have a long-term agenda, long-term plan. The Arabs, we don't have a long-term plan because emotion doesn't allow for long-term thought. Emotion only allows for short-term stupid decisions. But the Israelis, very smart, they plan long-term. And with this agreement, Israel will suspend, that's the key word, annexation of the occupied West Bank territory. They're going to suspend it. They're not going to stop it, by the way. Okay, they're going to suspend it. They're not going to stop killing Palestinians. They're going to suspend the annexation. They're not going to stop destroying Palestinian homes. They're not going to stop killing mostly Muslim Palestinians, by the way, but they care about you if you're a Muslim in Minneapolis or Michigan, but they don't care about you if you're a Muslim in Palestine, do they? I don't know. It doesn't look like they care about them because they're getting killed like crazy in Palestine. They're going to suspend annexation. And what that means is that once the United Arab Emirates and Israel establish their relationship, they will then begin annexation. But what does annexation mean anyway? 248-557-3300. What's your opinion? I'd like to hear what you have to say because I know everybody's upset about it, right? We're not going to do nothing, are we? We're going to do the typical Arab thing. We're going to get angry. We're going to scream. The Palestinians are already screaming. This is a This is crazy. What's the difference between what they're screaming today and what they were screaming before the UAE deal? And all the activists, they're screaming too. What's the difference between the screaming from last week and the screaming this week? The difference is a new topic to scream about. You know, what's the difference in emotion? There is no difference in emotion. Let's just sit around, eat mensef, and get upset. Let's smoke the hookah, right? Let's dance the debka. Let's sing Ella Del Ona songs, because you know what? That's what our Arab life is all about in this country. It's not about substance. And, all right, Jerry wants to call back. Yes, we'll give Jerry a minute. But you got to be quick, Jerry. Arabs are only allowed 1 hour in the United States for a radio show.
The former president of Egypt, Mohammed Anwar Sadat, signed peace treaty with Israel about 4 decades ago. The PLO chairman Yasser Arafat, he signed a treaty with Israel. Jordan, King Hussein, a century ago, the family of the Al-Hashimiyya, they signed a treaty with Israel, even it was secret at the beginning. Right? So what is the big deal if the United Arab Emirates signed peace treaty? I believe this is a victory for the Arab people. A victory.
There's no difference. But see, it's what they promised. Listen, if you and I are fighting, okay? You and I are fighting, and I say to you, Jerry Haba, I'm going to recognize you, and I'm going to give you what you want. And you say to me, Ray, I know you're mad because I'm going to steal your car. Here's what I'll promise you, Ray. I won't steal your car this week. I'll suspend my plans to steal your car. If you recognize me and embrace me and recognize me, I promise I won't steal your car.
Thank you again, Ray, for taking my call. I appreciate it, Ray.
You're a good man, Jerry. Believe me, we appreciate it, too.
God bless Lebanon. God bless Beirut. God bless our Middle East. And God bless Ray and Layla Al-Husseini Radio Talk Show.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Jerry.
And thank you to your producer, Mike Shepka.
All right, let's take another call from the mother of dragons, the first of her name, Layla Al-Husseini.
Hello, Ray.
Layla,
good morning, and thank you so much.
This is Game of Thrones, because are you emotional, Layla? Are you angry and emotional? I just want to know, because that's what Arabs are. We're angry and emotional.
No. I'm not screaming. I'm not emotional. I'm not really yelling. I'm just trying to understand.
Are you going to go to the Israeli-occupied United Arab Emirates? You planning on visiting there?
I have one good question to you, Ray, and I want to listen. I don't have an opinion about this, because what you said is just absolutely right. I mean, my only question to you, and I want to listen exactly how you're gonna really respond. So, what is the true benefit of the Arab government to normalization with Israel? They're
gonna abandon.
What are we gonna get out of this? I mean, definitely there is no benefit on the ground for the Palestinians, for sure.
No, it's money. It's all about money, Layla. It's all about money. It's all about money. This is all about finances and money and power. This is all about power. The United Arab Emirates and Israel are going to move forward. You know, they're probably going to create their own social media together. I wonder what it's going to be called. They got to come up with a good name for it. They want to be like the Amazon.com. They want to be Amazon, which is for sure $2,000 a share.
Also, there's Arab countries will follow up, Ray. I mean, definitely.
Yes, all of them. Believe me, the Arabs have already followed up. We just don't know it. The United Arab Emirates just came out from the bushes, right?
Right.
They just stepped out from the bushes.
Absolutely.
Don't you think, Layla?
But I have no doubt in this, right? But definitely, I follow the social media. Everyone is asking, away from emotional stuff, away being angry, because
why did they do it?
It's not fair for Palestinians and for their rights and returns and all of this. I mean, let us focus on the Arab countries. What are they going to benefit out of this? What is the true benefit of
one of the problems in the Arab world here's part of the answer, because I think this is important. The rest of the Arab world is upset that the focus is on Palestine. I mean, look what they're doing in Syria. They destroyed Syria. Look what they did in Iraq. They destroyed Iraq. Look what they've done in Beirut. It's the beginning of destruction again. Every 30, 40 years they destroy Beirut. I think that we are our worst enemies as Arabs. We don't stand together on principle. We've fallen apart. And they're changing the dynamics of what we talk about. Palestine is the past. The city of Jerusalem, believe me, the Israelis, you think annexation is a big deal? They already annexed. They control the West Bank. What's the difference if they put a title on it, right?
Right. Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a big question right now. I follow all the social media, and people, they want to know. I mean, what are going to be true benefits starting from United Arab Emirates right now? What is she's getting out of this deal? Outside what being announced that suspend. let me use the right word.
Money.
Suspend.
It's money, and the U.S. will fund it. And here's an important point too. Donald Trump embraced it, okay, but so will Joe Biden, and so will Kamala Harris. So we get rid of Trump because he's anti-Muslim, and we're going to replace him with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They won't say anti-Muslim stuff, but they're anti-Muslim. Believe me, because in their eyes, all Arabs are Muslims, and they don't like us, and we're not going to get what we want unless we do what they want. And that means if we will recognize Israel, they'll be nice to us. That's the condition. And
Ray, I really thank you so much for raising such a great topic and the sensitive topic. We don't speak usually about it. I mean, honestly and fairly and open all this subjects. And you quite few of journalists, they really speak out. Thank you so much for standing for all the Arabs and Muslims in the U.S.
Rashida doesn't think I'm standing for all the Arabs. I congratulated her, but I doubt she's going to come on my radio show. I should have just said, yeah, Rashida, yalla, I love you. I should have joined the rest of the Arabs and jumped around and danced the Debka and sang Ala Delona and ate Mensef with my hands in grape leaves with my other hand. And just say, yes, Rashida, we love you. You don't have to do anything, but we love you anyway.
This is challenging right now for maybe Rashida Tlaib and other candidates who's really from Palestine, Palestinian
she won, so what is she going to do, by the way?
About how she feels about this agreement between United Arab Emirates and Israel. I mean, plotting from the United States. So I wanted to hear her opinion about this also.
Yeah,
this is too challenging.
But she doesn't want to tell us because she can't do anything. She's going to stamp her feet. She's going to yell and scream, and we're going to love her, because she's Palestinian. We have to love her. Doesn't matter. But believe me, she's not going to do anything. She's going to yell and scream. And I guess that's all we should expect.
I think we need an action more than yelling, Ray.
There's no action. Action?
There's no action.
What kind of Arab are you? What kind of Arab are you to demand action, Layla? There's no action in the Arab world, in the Arab countries. Get your passport and go visit Israeli-occupied United Arab Emirates, okay? And be quiet.
Now I'm allowed to visit Jerusalem. Hey. I mean, by this agreement, this is maybe the one benefit for me that I can go and visit. Yeah, I know that as an American I can go visit, but they say it's open right now for all the Arabs and Muslims to visit Jerusalem. We'll see. Thank you so much, Ray, for the time. And
all right, Leila, thank you.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take one more. We're going to take one more phone call before we take our break. All right, Mike, let's go to Abu Fari on 248-557-3300. How are you? And thank you for calling and holding.
Thank you so much. Ray, I want to say, how old are you?
Me, I'm 67.
67.
That's why
your voice look like about 45. But I think another one, Habba or Habbi, I don't know his name. I think from his voice is too old also. But I think he's not a politician, and even me. But you know what why I call you?
Yes, sir.
Since we are children by the intermediate school, and
yes, we are. It's kindergarten.
I think Habba, if he's graduated since 1948, when the Iraqi army put the flag in Palestine. You remember this or not? Or you don't? Or you read it by the school?
Yes.
Within 2 days, they have an order or agreement to draw their army. But you know why I call you? Because I call you, I like when you say, we never stand together. We are divided. Don't. I will tell you why.
Because
I will tell you why. I will say it in English and Arabic. اتفق العرب أن لا يتفقوا. This is Al-Qaddafi said, the late Al-Qaddafi said this. In every conference, Arab conference, he said, اتفق العرب أن لا يتفقوا. Why we always talking about this? Palestine and Palestine. Since 1948, this song never finished, and maybe 100 years. And tell this Habba about Lebanon. Now we go to Lebanon. Nobody know who make this the earthquake. I don't say it's earthquake. Nobody say. Since 2007, who killed Al-Hariri till now? I think, but I hear that last week there was the court for the people that they have been accused by the international court, something like this. I hear there was a court, but nobody know who did the earthquake in the Great Lebanon, the bride of Middle East, the second Paris also. You know,
you don't expect them to find an answer to the Beirut thing, do you? Because they can't figure out who killed Hariri.
Ray, you don't know, me I don't know, and even this Habba or Habi, I don't know his name. Nobody know. Don't blame anybody. There is investigation, and I would like, to be by the investigation by the CIA of French, because, after 4 hours of the earthquake in Beirut, in Marfa, Beirut, the Prime Minister, I give him all my respect, and I said, très merci for the President Macron, when he come and visit, while the government, all the government, no one of them come and look to his assassination, to the killing, to the injured. Nobody from them and come. It must be, from the first hour, they have to step down all the government of Lebanon. Don't blame. There's people, they will find this. Because I told you, 13 years for the Al-Hariri killing. Nobody maybe yes, maybe no. To accusation, no. Please, Ray, not you, not Habba, don't accuse. There's people.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know who did it.
We don't know.
Listen, I'll tell you, it's terrible. And we're never going to know. Listen, thank you for the call. Thank you so much for
no
the call.
Problem, Ray. Take care of yourself. Stay healthy and safe.
Thank you very much. Ray Hanania here at WNZK AM 690 Radio in Greater Detroit. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take some more calls at 248-557-3300, where we can all get angry and express our emotions and dance to Aladona tunes and do the Debka together. Not solve anything, not, free anybody, but just do what Israel wants. We'll just do what they tell us to do. I'm Ray Hanania. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Are you going to start a restaurant or grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood 734-744-9796.
مركز طب ريهاب للعلاج الطبيعي بإدارة الدكتور محمد فرح حسين، أخصائي العلاج الطبيعي بخبرة أكثر من 13 عاما. طب ريهاب يقدم خدمات العلاج الطبيعي وإعادة التأهيل، ويضم مجموعة من أفضل أخصائي التشخيص الدقيق للحالات المرضية، مع خبرة عالية في التعامل مع الحالات التي تحتاج إلى إعادة تأهيل وعناية خاصة بعد العمليات والكسور. طب ريهاب يستقبل كل الحالات المتعلقة بألم الرقبة، الظهر، المفاصل، شلل الوجه، الانزلاق الغضروفي، عرق النساء، الحوادث وإصابات العمل. خبيرات في المعالجة النسائية لخصوصيات تامة للسيدات. عندما تبحثون عن رعاية متميزة اقصدوا توب ريهاب للعلاج الطبيعي، الواقع على 15001 ميشيغان افنيو، وللمواعيد اتصلوا على 313-846-0555. That's 846-0555.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600.
And welcome back to the Arab Street Radio Bellady on U.S. Arab Radio, hosted and run every week, Monday through Friday, at 8 a.m. to 9 on WNZK AM 690 by Layla Al-Husseini, the mother of dragons, because I'm going to describe people now in Game of Thrones terms, because there's nothing on TV during this pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. So I'm watching Game of Thrones again. 8 seasons. Takes forever. It's kind of like TikTok on TV. A lot of naked women, a lot of food, a lot of eating of food, and a lot of suspense. So I don't know how long TikTok is going to last, but that's what's going to happen. So we've been talking about the big news this week. Nobody expects anything to happen in Beirut, right? Now, is there anybody that expects something to happen? There'll be some street protests. They may get rid of the government. They'll just get a new government, and they'll just be blowing people up every other day like they always do in Lebanon. Between Syria, Hezbollah, Iran, Russia, and, all that trouble. It's going on forever. I don't expect any change. I feel bad for Lebanon. I've been there. It's a beautiful country. I went to the crater and the memorial statue that they built for Rafiq Hariri in front of that, I think it's St. George Hotel. I couldn't believe how big that explosion was when they killed Hariri. I think it was on February 14th of 2005. They called it the February Revolution. And nothing's happened in 15 years. They still don't know who really did it. They're never going to come to terms with who murdered Hariri. He was bringing change, and the Syrians didn't like it. And the Syrian government, I don't mean the Syrian people, because we're all victims. The real victims in all this are the people. The Syrian people, the Lebanese people, the Palestinian people, the Arab people, you name it. We're the victims. We have no control over everything. I don't expect anything to happen, but there will be a lot of protests, yelling and screaming, because that's one thing we do very well in the Arab community, besides dancing the debka and having heflas and getting all excited when we see an embroidered Palestinian dress in the halls of Congress. That's all we need, right? I'm happy. That should be it. What more? Why should I expect more? Breadcrumbs. That's what we should take. Breadcrumbs instead of loaves of bread. And then the United Arab Emirates. And I don't get the United Arab Emirates. Why would they do this? And Layla Hosseini asked a great question. Why would the United Arab Emirates do this? Because it's money. It's about big business. The Gulf is running out of oil. They're going to, they're looking at a future, maybe 100 years, where they're not going to have a lot of income, and they need to do something else. And Israel is the big bank. They're like the big bank, political bank, monetary bank. You want to do something in the Middle East, you got to partner with Israel. This is a disaster for the Palestinians. But, what's new? How often have we said this is a disaster for the Palestinians? Is that new? A disaster for the Palestinians. We say that all the time because it is a disaster. They got the worst political leaders. They got the worst of everything. Anyway, listen, I'm already out of time. I didn't even realize it. Thanks to Mike, I'm Ray Hanania. Go to my website at thedailyhookah.com or hanania.com. Have a great week, everybody. See you the second Friday of September. Bye-bye, everybody.